Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to JoyNews Room with me, Razak Musbao. We're coming to you from our studios here at Kokomlemle and we are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 across all our social media handles and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Coming up, Vice President Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman is set to be flown out of the country for further medical treatment after receiving care for an undisclosed illness at the University of Ghana Medical Center. Also in this bulletin, the Ghana Navy is investigating a suspected pirate attack on a Ghanaian registered fishing vessel, Magazine 1, which occurred on the evening of Thursday, March 27. Details as the captain, chief mate and chief engineer, all Chinese nationals, are missing, leading authorities to suspect they have been kidnapped. And also in sports, Nigerian light heavyweight boxer Gabriel Oluwaseun Lanrewuju, also known as Success, has died following an abrupt stoppage in his bout against Ghana's Jonathan Mbanugu at the Bochum Boxing Arena on Saturday evening. Now, we've got more for you here on the bulletin. Please do stay. Welcome back. Now, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, is set to be flown out of the country for further medical treatment after receiving care for an undisclosed illness at the University of Ghana Medical Center. The Presidency's Communications Directorate released a statement today confirming that she was admitted at the UGMC on Saturday following the unexpected health incident. Here is the statement from the Presidency, and you can see it reads you can see with the heading Vice President Opoku-Agyeman undergoes medical treatment. The Vice President, Excellency Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, received treatment at the University of Ghana Medical Center on Saturday due to a sudden illness that occurred after work on Friday, March 28, 2025. The statement continues that based on expert medical opinion, she will be seeking further care abroad. It ends with the statement, "We wish the Vice President a speedy recovery," and is signed by Felix Kwachi Ofosu, Member of Parliament and spokesperson to the President and Minister for Government Communications there. Now, the Ghana Navy is investigating a suspected pirate attack on a Ghanaian registered fishing vessel, Magazine 1, which occurred on the evening of Thursday, March 27 of this year. According to preliminary reports, 7 armed individuals boarded the ship at approximately 5:53 p.m. and fired warning shots, forcing several crew members to take cover in a safe area. The assailants remained on board for about 3 hours, during which they gathered the crew on deck and confiscated their mobile phones. Now, following the attack, the crew discovered that the captain, chief mate and chief engineer, all Chinese nationals, were missing, leading authorities to suspect they have been kidnapped. Let us bring you details of the statement signed by the Director General Public Relations of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Agri Kwashi, and the statement also with the heading, "A suspected pirate attack on fishing vessel Magazine 1 in Ghanaian waters." It states that the Ghana Navy is investigating a suspected pirate attack on a Ghanaian registered fishing vessel, Magazine 1, that took place in its waters on the evening of Thursday, March 27. At approximately 5:53 hours, preliminary reports indicated that 7 armed individuals boarded the ship and fired warning shots, prompting several crew members to cover in a safe area. The pirates stayed on board for about 3 hours after assembling everyone on deck and confiscating their mobile phones. The statement adds that following their departure, the crew came out of hiding to find the captain, chief mate and chief engineer, all Chinese nationals, missing, who are suspected of being kidnapped by the attackers. The crew had to sail closer to land before reporting the event because there was no mobile network coverage at sea. And it also continues that the rest of the crew is safe and the ship has now safely docked at the Tema Fishing Harbour. The Marine Police and the Eastern Naval Command's naval intelligence personnel have conducted initial interrogations confirming the incident and the suspected abduction. It concludes with that information of the incident has been shared with the neighboring countries through the ECOWAS Multinational Maritime Coordination Center, Genève and Accra, under the Yaoundé Architecture for Maritime Security. And it says that this was to alert our neighbors to also look out for the kidnappers. It ends that meanwhile, all efforts have been made by intelligence agencies to locate and free the crew of the ship. And it's signed by E. Agri Kwashi, Brigadier General, Director General Public Relations. Now, joining us on Zoom now is Victor Doke, a security analyst on this very incident. Mr. Victor, thank you very much for joining us. Can you please help us appreciate how vulnerable Ghana's waters to pirate attack are? And has there been any such, incident recently?
Thank you very much. Good day to you and then your cherished viewers. So, with regards to what has happened in our waters, it only calls for alertness, not much of a concern, in as much as we think the situation may be bad, yes, but then we look at holistically the Gulf of Guinea, which has been, labeled as a route for, illegalities with regards to drug trade, piracy, and all of that. And even according to the African Defense Forum report, which has stated clearly some countries have been their routes have been notably used for drug trade and all of that. I think with these kind of developments, we need to look at how we can quickly, as much as possible, enhance. I use the word enhance because there have been processes in place with regards to how what our water bodies or maritime space can be secure and safe for trade activities to go on, enhancing the use of modern technology in this regard to detect vessels that are part of designated water bodies or the limits that we are supposed to have. Technology with regards to how we can also receive what information about such attacks that are going on sea and to respond effectively to it. So technology cuts across. Now, whether this has happened, prior to the situation, I may not readily be able to tell you. But what I know is this incident has taught us that with regards to our maritime space, we need to be a little bit more proactive in that regard. And for these, the crew that have been, interrogated, I think what authorities should do is also try to find out whether there is a connection with regards to, the past days, the, news about the drug that was transported via waters into our mainland. We should try to see if there's any kind of connection because I kind of like analyze the situation and I think we should explore all options with regards to questioning and then finding information and all of that. I think the first response with regards to contacting the multi maritime coordination center is in good view because then you need to collaborate with other agencies in these countries that form the MMCC in Zone F specifically to also give information. So in that regard, it is good. But as to whether these countries would also have the necessary tools, and I come again get to technology because now the way forward is merging maritime security with what enhanced technology to detect even what is happening outside your waters to respond rapidly and then care the situation.
I mean, just want to find out, though, if you're familiar with any, in terms of the security measures that are in place to protect Ghanaian registered vessels, and if there is something that we need to do to improve those measures. Are you familiar? What are the security measures in place, to protect the vessels, and what do we need to do to strengthen it and avoid this thing from happening?
What I can say readily now is when you talk about an enhanced security measures to protect Ghanaian waters, it is only the aspect of what these vessels calling in that there is an issue. Okay. Now, as to whether our maritime architecture here, okay, determines or knows collectively every vessel in the Ghanaian space,
Yep.
unless those who come and dock is another issue, then it
Mm-hmm.
means we also need to look at that area.
Mm-hmm.
How many vessels are inland that go offshore or go outside, for activities? We need to look at those areas. So then when a vessel goes up, you have the details in the system that you can track. And this is where technology is very important. Do we have that capacity? If not, then we need to. But as at now, the only process I know readily of is when a vessel goes out and has issues and then calls in for what? Assistance. And that is it. But when you come to protection, yes, we know that Ghana Navy is a first most what agency that responds to these kind of
Mm.
protection on the sea. Now, in as much as this institution is there for the safety and protection of vessels and then the crew members, we need to ensure that they are also what built capacity wise,
Mm.
equipment wise. They need to have the right equipment to going out to sea, even to respond to these mechanisms.
Yep.
And these are the protective mechanisms that I know of readily on top of my head.
But in terms of the motives, typically the motives of these pirates, operating in the Gulf of Guinea. I mean, does this attack fit known patterns in terms of what we've known? Kidnapping people, asking for ransom, etc. Does it fit the kind of pattern that we've been known for?
This is very dicey because you have suspected pirates who have what kidnapped and they stayed on the vessel for 3 hours. 3 hours, and you could imagine, so 3 hours, the crews that were hiding couldn't have any resource
Mm.
to get to, information out there. And imagine they had that technology. It
Hmm.
means they could have been, saved. But whether the pattern is akin to what we've experienced widely in the Gulf of Guinea, I would say yes and no, because then you're talking about this is a sudden, event that has happened. No one expected it. But regards to what has happened in the Gulf of Guinea, we know the pattern. It's been occurrence, and the occurrences have been what rampant. So then the issues about piracy itself has stopped. Now, unlike before, because of the collaborations of the states and then the various architectures that have come into place. So it's a yes and no for me. But then holistically, I think we need to, in as much as possible, protect our safe maritime space. We need
Mm.
to invest heavily in the maritime, you know, institutions.
Mm. But I
And
mean,
then, yeah.
yeah, I mean, just finally though, what role do you think the regional and international corporations can play in addressing piracy threats in Ghana's territorial waters? Is there any, because we know that they issue this, signal to the ECOWAS Maritime, Security Force. Is there anything more that, these regional international bodies can do to avert these incidents?
Well, there's much that has been done in this regard. That's why we have the various architectures, for example, the Yaoundé Architecture Regional Information System, for example, and then these other ones that have been mentioned. So that is the step that they've taken now. As to whether they can do more, yes, it's all about just meeting in forums, conferences, and then updating each other on what to do, sharing information on what else can be done in that
Yeah.
regard, information technology, and all of that. So in this regard, I think if the Ghana Navy has then relayed information to that bigger agency, then I think it would also collaboratively look out for these pirates and the vessels who are engaging in these illegalities.
Mm.
So I think that's one of the advantages of having collaboration with these bigger architectures frameworks in the maritime
Yeah,
space.
and just
So I
finally, though,
think
what do you think needs to be done? What do you think Ghana need to do to rescue these individuals? If you were to offer them some counsel on what to do from a security point of view, what does Ghana need to do to get these individuals back?
well, first of all, they need to know where the individuals are in the first place. We don't know. That's why they have to contact the MMCC to know where exactly they are. So, for example, if they're in the waters of Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and elsewhere, then it means the onus lies on those, countries, the Navy, apparatus there to try and salvage the situation. So now imagine, or for instance, if they are in the waters of Ghana, then it means that the Ghana Navy, through its special operations forces or the boat special boat squadron, i.e., they can now respond to the situation. So I think now they should, rely more on the collaboration because we don't know where these, individuals are. It could be that, it could be maybe they were, shot and thrown into the sea. Nobody knows because then the crew themselves said they suspected that they've been what abducted by the pirates. So it's a vague, explanation in that regard. So they could be anywhere, and I think they should just rely on information from other sister agencies in the zone F to try and then salvage the situation as much as they can. And then I think now we need more enhancement, education-wise, sensitization to our fisher folks, the vessels that goes out to sea, to know how to collaborate and then relay information when they are under attack. Generally, we need to secure our waters. We need more patrolling, and patrolling means investing heavily in the maritime institutions that are mandated to protect our water bodies.
Well, Mr. Victor Doke, thank you very much for your time on JoyNews Room today. Victor Doke is a security analyst there. But let's move to Parliament now, where the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwin, has issued a strong warning to the members of Parliament, urging them to safeguard the independence of the legislature against what he describes as undue interference from the executive and judicial arms of government. Addressing lawmakers ahead of the parliamentary recess, the Speaker stressed the need for MPs to remain vigilant and assertive in upholding the principles of separation of powers. He cautioned that any encroachment by the other arms of government could undermine parliamentary democracy and weaken the institution's ability to effectively perform its oversight, lawmaking and representational roles.
Ghanaians witnessed a new tone and style of debates in Parliament. I've been here since January 1993, and I know what I'm talking about. But I want to caution the leaders against the dangers of political polarization, erosion of public trust, fragmentation of the institution, and threats to national security. This could push it into the hands of the executive or judiciary. If we continue to go the way we are going, we will be subsuming ourselves under the executive or the judiciary. Or if you are unable to resolve your own differences, others will resolve it for you. And that will erode the public trust and confidence in the institution of Parliament.
Now, the Majority Leader, Mahama Yaraga, also applauded members for their diligence to duty throughout the process.
We had the privilege of listening to the reading of the 2025 budget and economic policy by the Minister for Finance, a budget that symbolizes hope, resilience, and the promise of better days to come. The passage of the Appropriation Act further reinforced our commitment to sound fiscal management and prioritizing the needs of Ghanaians, ensuring that our resources are directed towards projects and initiatives that will uplift our society. Mr. Speaker, one of the core promises of the President during the 2024 campaign was to ensure that the government operates efficiently and responsibly with the people's interest at heart. This promise is already being fulfilled. The President promised to reduce the size of government from 88 to 60. Today, we can proudly say that this promise has been delivered. Government is now leaner, more focused, and poised to serve the people more effectively. 56 ministers and deputy ministers have been vetted and approved by this House. Mr. Speaker, the President also made a commitment to cancel nuisance taxes that place undue pressure on Ghanaians. and this has been fulfilled before our very eyes in this House. The repeal of the e-levy, betting tax, among others, is a direct reflection of this promise. The President has shown through action that his campaign promises were not empty words, but a real blueprint for the betterment of our nation. Mr. Speaker, as we now prepare for recess, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the tireless work of all members of Parliament on all sides during this action-packed meeting. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sometimes there was too much action. While the recess provides us with a much-needed break from the intensity of the floor, it is not just a time for rest, it is also an opportunity for the various committees which have now been inaugurated to perform their oversight responsibilities.
Now, the Minority Leader, Fenyo Markin, on the other hand, is calling for more consensus building, especially on key national issues.
Issue of the gold bond bill. Mr. Speaker, every indication was to the effect that after working together at the committee level, after going through win-on-win collectively, the bill will be taken at 10 a.m. this morning or soon thereabout. There was an understanding that certain clauses will be done, but unbeknown to us, the majority had their daggers hidden in their clothes. Mr. Speaker, the situation was such that Honorable Bejra, a senior member of this House, had to move all the way to switch off the mic of the Minority Chief Whip. This is not the first time. This is not the first time our side is experiencing such an action from Honorable Bejra. In October, when we were in majority, and there was an impasse regarding a decision of Mr. Speaker, he publicly stated that if we enter the chamber, quotes, we'll beat them, unquote. Mr. Speaker, whereas none of us can be perfect, in this chamber, we encourage that as much as possible, we minimize the excesses of our conduct. None of us is accepted. We are one family. The essence of this politics is to express our own views, however diverse they may be, but still maintain brotherliness. Mr. Speaker, that is very critical. Mr. Speaker, the minority also expresses disappointment regarding the inability of the chair to admit our review motion, which we filed in accord with Order 127 of the rules of this House.
Now, some Queen mothers and women in the Oti region have made a passionate appeal to the government to take immediate and decisive steps to resolve the ongoing conflict in the Nkwanta municipality of the Oti region. Speaking at a press conference, they called on government to institute a fact-finding committee to help resolve the issues.
War, they say, has no winner except the left. Furthermore, it is said that war and conflict have nothing to be proud of except the pain and grave. It has equally been noted that in the event of any war and conflict, women and children suffer the brunt the most. Distinguished guests of the media, we as queens, women and mothers have come to realize and understand the harshness of the times women of Nkwanta have gone through within these 3 years. We acknowledge the veracity of the statements above, and it is in the light of these happenings that we, the Queens of Adele Land, in consonance with all our other women, have assembled here to express our worry. Similarly, we thank the government for that swift response. We would also make a few suggestions that we think could address the situation. 1, we request the government to institute a fact-finding committee to seek the fact of Nkwanta that will help resolve the issue. As far as we know, the 3 chieftains, namely Adele, Achode, Chala, know their rare respective bundles within the areas, and each knows who and where they share such bundles. 3, the 3 paramount chiefs to bond themselves and to agree that should there be any attacks from any of the 3 chieftains, that chief be distilled.
As Muslims across the country and indeed around the world conclude the holy month of Ramadan, President John Dramani Mahama has called on Ghanaians to embrace unity and religious tolerance to foster national peace and development. At an iftar event with the National Chief Imam and other Muslim leaders, President Mahama commended the Muslim community for their devotion, self-discipline and commitment to the principles of Ramadan, which emphasize compassion, generosity, and spiritual renewal. He urged all citizens, regardless of their religious backgrounds, to draw inspiration from these values in promoting social harmony.
Ensuring fairness, justice, and development for all remains strong under the Reset agenda. We are focused on rebuilding our economy, restoring social justice to our nation, and creating opportunities for all, including our Muslim communities. As we reflect on the past and look to the future, I want to highlight some of the critical steps we've taken already and the promises we are committed to fulfilling to ensure that our Muslim communities thrive under the Reset agenda. One of the major challenges facing Ghanaian Muslims was the rising cost of performing the Hajj pilgrimage. Recognizing this burden, our government took decisive action to reduce the Hajj fare from a high of 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis, allowing more Ghanaian Muslims, especially the elders and those who have saved for years, to embark on this important religious journey. This intervention aligns with our broader goal of ensuring fairness in national policies and making sure that all citizens, regardless of their financial status, can fulfill their spiritual obligations. For years, Ghanaian pilgrims preparing for Hajj faced poor accommodation and logistical difficulties before they embark on the holy journey. Under the Reset agenda, the Ghana Airport Company is constructing a transit terminal which would be used as a Hajj village during the Hajj period and as a comfortable transit center before departure. But let me point out that the transit center will be available in periods after Hajj, outside Hajj, to other passengers in transit through Kotoka Airport.
Now, the president further called on faith leaders to continue fostering interfaith dialogue and cooperation, emphasizing that Ghana's strength lies in its diversity. He also announced some interventions by his government to reset the Ghanaian economy.
As we believe that a nation can only develop when its people are empowered with knowledge and skills, we have integrated Islamic schools into the mainstream education system to ensure that Muslim children receive quality education without compromising their religious identity. We will construct community-day senior high schools in Muslim-dominated areas to increase access to secondary education. We will provide scholarships to brilliant but needy Muslim students to study in higher education both locally and abroad, especially in areas of medicine and engineering. By investing in education, we're investing in the future of our Muslim communities, ensuring that the next generation is well equipped to contribute to national development. There are several programs we are rolling out, and we expect that our youth in the Muslim communities will participate. We're rolling out entrepreneurship and skills training programs to help young people start and sustain businesses. This is called the Ejumara program, and it will train and provide capital for 10,000 young people every year. And it is my hope that most of our Muslim youth will take advantage of this. We are going to facilitate access to microfinance support for small businesses in our Muslim communities and zongos.
Well, the president, also speaking at the event, urged persons in leadership positions to be conscious of decisions they take in order not to inflict dire consequences on individual lives. According to him, the decision by the SOL NPP government to introduce the domestic debt exchange program affected pensioners, provident funds and other investment, noting that many, including Dr. Michael Ejekum Addo, suffered its consequences. The president made this observation when he delivered a tribute at the funeral of the late Chief Executive Officer of Kama Group of Companies and the Unity Chief of New Juaben Traditional Area, Nana, Dr. Michael Ejekum Addo, in the Eastern region.
Kama was a friend, and I've known him from when I was Minister of Communications. Our party, particularly our party, the NDC, has had a very close relationship with him. He was good friends to the late Professor John Evans Mills and was a very good friend. I called him uncle. He was a good friend to me, and I considered him like an uncle. And so that's why when I was looking for somebody with the knowledge in industry and investment to head the Ghana Investment Promotion Council, I could find no other person than him. And so from 2014 to 2016, when I was president, he was the chair of the board of the Ghana Investment Promotion Council. The last time I spoke to him was in circumstances that were not very pleasant. I had heard him give an interview after the domestic debt exchange had been concluded, and he had been struck very hard financially by the domestic debt exchange, and he had been forced to come out and talk about how it had affected him personally. And so I gave him a call to condole with him and sympathize and to urge him not to give up hope, and that there is always life where there's a will. Where there's a will, there is hope. After that, I didn't hear from him again, and the next thing came the shocking news that he has passed. For me, it was a shock, but it also shows that for leaders, when we take decisions, we must know that our decisions affect the lives of individual people. Kama was well known, and his story with regards to the bond exchange is widely known because he spoke about it and because of the personality he is. But I'm sure that all over the country there are thousands of people advanced in age whose pensions and provident funds were invested in the domestic debt exchange, who probably have also passed away and we don't know about it, or who are sitting at home in poverty, do not have monies to buy their medicines and all that. And so for me, the lesson is that in taking decisions, we must know that our decisions as leaders affect individual lives. And so on this occasion, I wish to condole with the family and to say that you should take heart. We're here celebrating your father. We're not mourning him. And you can take pride in what your father achieved. And I can see that the children are following his footsteps. I'm sure that if you look in Ghana at families per capita, this family has the largest number of pharmacists. I've never seen a family with so many pharmacists. May God strengthen you and guide you through this difficult moment. And may the soul of our uncle, our friend, Dr. Michael Ejekum, rest in perfect peace.
Well, he was married to Mrs. Ernestina Juabin Sawa Addo, with whom he had 9 children. And in her tribute, his wife, Ernestina Juabin Sawa Addo, described him as a caring and loving husband.
The world may mourn the passing of a giant, but I have lost so much more. I have lost my love, my companion, my kwabna. We began our journey together as classmates at Anna Secondary School, Ghana, in 1964. From those early days, you were my friend, my steady partner, my brother, and in spirit. You always had a kind, gentle way about you, offering your help with lessons and lifting my spirits during entertainment nights on Saturdays. Then came the notes. Those little love notes you slipped to me when we were just teenagers. I tried to ignore them at first. But one day, you sent me a note so charming that I couldn't help but respond. That response was the beginning of a lifelong love story, one full of twists, turns, and countless memories.
The Ashanti region now, where the regional minister, Dr. Frank Amoakwene, says he remains unfazed by the region's historically hostile stance towards the governing NDC, vowing to prioritize and lead development efforts for the region. The region, considered to be the political World Bank of the opposition New Patriotic Party, continues to remain a political pillar, though the NDC made inroads in the last election. Addressing the tertiary education network of the NDC, Dr. Amoakwene says he is undeterred by the opposition he faces in the region.
As regional minister and the representative of government and His Excellency the President, to make sure that the region flourishes and government business thrive in the region, I am here to make sure that everything that concerns you and concerns team and concerns the youth work is something that definitely will concern you. So I'm here to make sure and give you that assurance that anytime, any day, knock on my doors, I'm there to make sure I provide the support that you need for the activities and state. As regional minister and in a very hostile region, in this region, if you take, say, 10 people, you have 6 of them as it stands now being with the opposition, and 4 being with the ruling government. At least extrapolating from the results we had from the last or the previous elections. With that in mind, we should definitely expect that if there is any region that will be out and loud and the greatest critic of this government, definitely will come from the Ashanti region. And if you see us still doing our best, don't think that, oh, these people, everything you do or anything you do for them, they will still talk, why are you still putting in your best and all that. Even if no one appreciates our efforts, remember that we have at least 4 out of 10 people in Ashanti region who appreciate what His Excellency the President is doing for the big people of Ashanti region.
Well, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more here on the JoyNews Room. Hi there, welcome back. Now, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital says it is hopeful collaborations with international partners will help train local health practitioners with requisite skills to perform complete procedures such as cleft palate surgery. This comes as the facility, together with the NGO Operation Smile Ghana, gave 4 to 5 children the ability to smile broader and speak properly after their cleft palates were surgically corrected. There is more in this report.
The corrective surgeries conducted over a period of 9 days benefited 45 children from across the country. Cleft palate is a congenital condition where there is an opening or gap in the roof of the mouth that can affect speech, eating, and overall health. The 3-year partnership between the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the Operation Smile team has helped improve the speech of children born with the condition. Head of the National Plastic Reconstructive Unit at the hospital, Dr. Pokuari Ampoma, added the initiative has helped to boost the morale of the children.
We want to be able to offer the most complex levels of intervention for the Ghanaian population. And for this particular project, we call it a speech surgery project because it is not the regular cleft lip and cleft palate reconstruction that we have been doing. These are a subset of patients who have had their palates fixed. Now, the palate is an important element if you're able to speak properly. And so for some of the patients, even though the palate has been repaired, they are still not able to speak very clearly. Help is available within Ghana, and it's just a phone call away. So we have the contact line for Patient Smile, or you can come directly to the center, or you can call the center, either way.
Dr. Apoma further expressed hope such collaborations would facilitate the investment in equipping the partnering health facilities, as well as build the capacity of the local surgeons who join the Operation Smile team, so they can also perform such complete surgeries on their own.
Of course, can we do more? Yes, we can obviously do more, but it is an ongoing process. And so in terms of funding, in terms of support for these patients at the district level, because previously we had only about 4 speech therapists in Ghana. Now there are about 54 of them.
A speech therapist with the team, Diadra Maloon, who highlighted how communication difficulties due to cleft palates affect the quality of life of children, noted a need for more speech therapists to train them after the surgeries.
What we do is we implement different surgical techniques so we can improve the way the patient speaks. And after the surgery, and this is very important, it's not finished. The patient needs to continue with a program of speech therapy. So what is happening here in Ghana is very important, because the Operation Smile team here in Ghana is being able to provide really good surgery with a local team, and also to provide speech therapy with a local team.
Yearly, parents of children with cleft palates look forward to the Operation Smile team visiting Ghana. Their ultimate desire is to have access, a free one, to these life-changing surgeries so they can see their children communicate effectively and confidently.
Now, Minister for Works and Housing, Gilbert Kenneth Ajay, has reiterated government's commitment to strengthen partnership with the Ghana Institution of Engineering and other institutions to drive technological advancements and ensure sustainable development across the country. He spoke at the investiture of the 53rd President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Before confirmed as the President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Engineer Ludwig Annan Hesse understudied Engineer Kobina Bimpon for 2 years. The Minister for Works and Housing at the investiture called for a strong collaboration between the institution and other sector players to address Ghana's housing challenges.
The ministry places paramount importance on the professional standards and ethical conduct of engineers in our country. In this regard, the Engineering Council Act 2011, Act 819, stands as a cornerstone for ensuring quality and accountability within the profession. We at the ministry are committed to actively collaborating with the Ghana Institution of Engineering and enforce its vital act. This collaboration is crucial in upholding the integrity of the engineering profession and ensuring that all projects undertaken contribute to the safety, sustainability, and progress of our nation. We want to state clearly that the ministry will wholeheartedly support engineers who adhere to the provision of the Engineering Council Act. Your commitment to professional standards and ethical practices is not just commendable.
Newly sworn-in President Engineer Ludwig Annan Hesse pledged to continue ensuring standards and professionalism in the institution.
The objective of the institution is to promote and advance the science and practice of engineering to the benefits of society in Ghana, Africa, and globally. Article 3.2 goes further to state that to achieve the objectives, the institution shall collaborate with the Engineering Council, other statutory bodies, and other relevant organizations to undertake the following in Ghana: registration and regulation of engineering practice in Ghana, maintaining professional standards in the practice of engineering, promoting the welfare of members and registered entities.
As part of this year's investiture, Engineer Sophia Tijani is the president-elect as she will understudy 53rd President, Engineer Ludwig Annan Hesse, for the next 2 years. This year's investiture was under the theme, Engineering Our Future, Do It Well, Do It Right.
Well, the President, Joe Mahama, has assured that his government and his administration will not target or pursue perceived businessmen or entrepreneurs who are political opponents for closures or destruction. That's according to Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the new Chancellor of the Nobel International Business School, Dr. George Nana Agyekum Donko. The Foreign Affairs Minister said that President Mahama's administration is committed to implementing policies that ensure the growth of businesses rather than hinder them.
Already in this year's budget, 100 million cedis has been allocated as seed fund for the 1 million coders program. So I want to assure the Chancellor that the call that he has made is a call that is timely, that is very crucial towards the development of our country, and President Mahama very much agrees with him. That is not the only fund that the President has committed to. The President is also committing $50 million towards the establishment of a fintech growth fund, which will serve as venture capital funding for our young tech giants who are so talented, who are industrious, but do not have the needed governmental support as compared to their colleagues in other countries. So President Mahama says that his government will establish this $50 million fintech growth fund to serve as a source of funding of the inventions, the innovations that our young, talented IT experts will come up with. Having said that, President Mahama will also wish that we reflect on the state of governance, on the state of leadership in our country. And that is why he is of the firm belief that an institution like NIBS is so germane and so fundamental to the forward march of our country. If you look at the state of our state-owned enterprises, according to SIGA, the State Interest and Governance Authority, the top 10 SOEs of our country in 2023 made losses to a colossal amount of 11 billion Ghana cedis. That must be a source of worry for all of us. How is it that state-owned enterprises, which were once profitable?
President Mahama says, I should assure all of you, and by extension, those who are out of this room, the people of Ghana, that our entrepreneurs and our business people should feel free to expand their businesses and carry out their objectives under his government. No perceived political opponent who owns a business will be pursued or will be targeted for distractions or foreclosure. That would not happen under the watch of President Mahama. He says we are all Ghanaians.
Let's end with some tragic news where Nigerian light heavyweight boxer Gabriel Oluwaseun Alaramwije, also known as Success, tragically passed away following an abrupt stoppage in his bout against Ghana's Jonathan Mbanugu at the Bukom Boxing Arena. Coincidentally, Mbanugu has both a Ghanaian and Nigerian parentage. The bout, staged on Saturday, March 29, was a crucial feature on the Ghana Professional Boxing League fight night. It took only a few seconds for fans at the Bukom Boxing Arena and officials to realize that something was seriously wrong. Natana Alato, my colleague who was there, monitored the event and reported that the boxer was subsequently rushed to the hospital where he lost his life. Now, the Ghana Professional Boxing Association is yet to respond to the issue, but we understand that a statement will soon come out, and we'll share that with you in our subsequent bulletins. But on your screen is how the event did unfold. They were fighting, and you could see just some few rounds to the end of their bout, and the Nigerian, after receiving some uppercut, it does appear that he fell down and having some issues, and the referee ended up stopping the fight, and you could see collapsed on the ring there, was subsequently rushed to the hospital where he was declared dead. Right, so wishing him and the family the very best. Watching JoyNews Room, and we've got more stories for you on myjoyonline.com. There on the sports segment, you see more. Also, the MTN FA Cup action, second round of the quarterfinals also happening. Kotoko in action against True Democracy FC, and Karela United will be playing Golden Cakes. Well, that's all we have for you on the JoyNews Room today. With me, Razak Musubao. We'll be back later at 7 with more news.